Hey folks, Dr. Joe Esposito here. Hope everybody's having a wonderful day. Glad you could spend a little time with me today. I do appreciate that. I know everybody's got a real busy schedule, so I do appreciate you spending time with me. What we're going to talk about today is how plastic has adverse effects on your life. So many times you're exposing yourself to plastic in a day, and you have no idea, until today, how bad the plastics are and how many long-term side effects they're going to cause. So it's really important you pay attention to today's show. Now, plastic is both a godsend and a nightmare because it's really important. I mean, we do use it in so many things that make cars lighter, so we spend less gas, so we have lower carbon footprint. We make computers out of it. We make disposable syringes so we don't have to spread diseases in the medical profession. So there's a lot of benefits to it. I mean, we have polystyrene cups, which are the white plastic cups that helps keep your drink warm. But the problem with that is you're exposing yourself to chemicals that can cause some real serious problems. So what I want you to take away from today's show is this. When you use plastic for unnecessary conveniences, you're putting not only the planet at risk, you're putting your own health at risk. And very few people ever think about this. So let's talk about some ways I want you to get plastic out of your life. I know you're thinking, I don't want to give up plastic. I'm not asking you to give up plastic. Just in Italian, we say aspetta, relax, calm down. We're going to give you ways to use it safely and then try to get it out of your life in other ways too. Sometimes it has other chemicals in it that are toxic. Recent studies looking at black plastic travel mugs and kitchen utensils found an alarming percentage contained something called brominated flame retardants. Now, this is a toxic class of chemicals that's linked to cancer. Researchers believe electronic recycled waste, which often contains these harmful flame retardants like plastic housings for computers, are winding up in plastic consumer products because they're being recycled. So here you think you're doing a good thing, you're recycling, and you're saying, oh, I'm going to recycle my plastic and it's going to be wonderful, but now some of that is going back into food containers or plastic cups, and that's not good. The other problem with bromine or brominated flame retardants is this. You have an organ in your body called the thyroid gland, and the thyroid gland produces thyroid hormones, and they use iodine to help produce these hormones. Now, in your thyroid, you have T1, T2, T3, and D4 being made. T means thyroid, and numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4 mean how many molecules of iodine are used in that hormone. So T1 is 1, T2 is 2. You get the idea. Bromine is called a haloid. Halide are bromines, fluorines, chlorines, and iodine. And it looks like iodine. So it can block up the receptor sites in your thyroid and you don't absorb your iodine properly. So if you're exposing yourself to bromine or brominated flame retardants, it can affect your body's ability to make thyroid hormone. Wow. How wild is that? So I really want you to consider that may not be the thing you want to do because it can cause some real serious problems. Instead, you want to get rid of plastic food containers and use either stainless steel, ceramic, or glass. Now, that may be a challenge for some of you, but I really want you to think about this. If you're going to put something cold in a plastic container, probably not the end of the world. It's probably okay. But if you're going to put something hot, never, ever, under any circumstances, use a plastic container. If you're going to put ice, don't ever use a plastic container because the ice can scratch the plastic. And that can cause problems. So you really got to think long and hard. In my house, I have tons of glass containers of all different sizes, and I recycle. I'll take a little jar and I'll reuse it for something. Like, for example, I drink Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source every day. And if you don't know what those are two products that they're supplements that I created for myself years ago. And my staff started stealing them from me. Then my patients wanted to know what my staff was taking, and so now we actually manufacture it. But it's the minimum amount of nutrients that you need for a day. So the essential source is raw fruits and vegetables. We juice it, take the water out at a real low temperature. What's left is a powder. Then we add prebiotics, probiotics, digestive enzymes, a complete multivitamin, and then we make a powder out of it. And so that, and along with Super Greens, which alkalizes your system, I take a scoop of each and I put it in a glass container, these little jars, shake it up. I add coconut milk or almond milk because I don't do animal products. And I drink it. So there I'm recycling the glass, but I wouldn't put it in plastic because if you're putting something in plastic, it can scratch, or if it's hot, certainly this isn't hot, it can melt the plastic. And when plastic gets into the body, it has adverse effects on your hormone levels. Now, as we get older, it's harder to maintain good hormone levels. But what you're doing is you're messing with Mother Nature, because a lot of these plastics are called endocrine disruptors. They actually act like estrogen. And your body doesn't need more estrogen. It probably needs less estrogen. And so you're giving your body estrogen, which can now cause abnormal cell growth. What do we call abnormal cell growth that's out of control? Say it with me. Cancer. So this is a concern of ours, mine certainly. Never put anything hot in plastic. Never microwave in plastic. Under any circumstances should you ever put microwave in a plastic in a microwave, because that heat is going to melt the plastic 100% of the time. One of my colleagues here a couple of years ago, I remember, I came into the studio and she had some spaghetti and it was in a plastic container. And I looked at her. She was walking toward the break room and I said, "You're not going to heat that in a microwave, are you?" And she goes, "Yeah, why not?" And I gave her a brief explanation and she turned around and ate it cold. Good choice on her part. But I really want you to be careful with you shouldn't use microwaves anyway. I can give you a whole hour on why you shouldn't use microwaves. But don't use microwaves. But if you do, never ever under any circumstances put plastic in there, because it's going to release those chemicals. So glass is a good idea. Stainless steel is okay. Of course, don't put stainless steel in a microwave. Other reasons you don't want to use plastic. It makes guys less manly. Wait a minute. Did I just get your attention? The answer is yes. Of course I did. In a study appearing in Environmental Health Perspectives, it found that men with the highest concentration of phthalates, which is a common plastic ingredient, had significantly lower free androgens and healthy reproductive hormones compared to men with the lowest level of phthalates. Now, what the heck are phthalates? Well, phthalates are the chemicals that affect the hormones. And androgens, what the heck are androgens? Androgens are your male hormones. So the higher the level of phthalates, the bad chemicals, the lower the level of androgens, your male hormones. And that becomes a real serious issue. Because the hormones that men have, we think about testosterone, for example, as your sex drive hormone. But it's a lot more than that. Testosterone helps build muscle mass, and not just your biceps and your triceps. What about your heart? What about your colon? What about your blood vessels? These are all muscles. And unfortunately, as we start to get older, our hormone levels, our testosterone levels drop. And as the testosterone levels drop, it's going to adversely affect our muscle. And one of the problems is that if your testosterone level becomes too low, it's going to affect how your heart beats, how your bowels work, how your digestive system works. So you're taking in these chemicals, these plastic, and it's making you essentially less of a man. Now, it's not just for men. Women need testosterone too. Ladies, you need testosterone for sex drive, for heart muscle, for blood vessels. And so the plastic is affecting men as well as women. Another reason you want to get rid of the plastics, University of Chicago released a study June 2013. They found that early exposure to bisphenol A, or BPA, is a common chemical used in polycarbonate water bottles. How many of you drink water out of plastic water bottles? Raise your hands. I know a lot of you do. It mimics estrogen in the body and could sensitize the prostate stem cells in a way that promotes prostate cancer later in life. So what are stem cells? Stem cells are the early cells that form, and they differentiate. So a stem cell can become pretty much anything it wants to. So if you have these prostate stem cells, it's going to grow into prostate cells and a prostate organ. But if you're exposing yourself to these chemicals, it might lead them to become cancerous. So if you have children, I strongly advise you don't let them drink out of plastic bottles. The weaker the plastic bottle, the more chemical is going to be released. Now, you pick up some of these plastic bottles and they crinkle. Don't ever use those. They're the cheap ones. If you're going to drink out of a plastic bottle, and you shouldn't, but if you do, make sure it's hard plastic. In my house, I have a whole house water filter, and I filter every drop of water that comes into my house. Because if you take a shower, and you take a typical average shower, you're absorbing enough chlorine from the water that equates to about 8 glasses of water. Because your pores open and you absorb the chlorine. Chlorine is a chemical that will adversely affect your thyroid gland. Now, we talked about haloids, chlorine, fluorine, bromine, and iodine. So chlorine, just like bromine, can block up your iodine receptor sites and prevent your thyroid from working properly. So I filter every drop of water in my house. Toilets. If there's water in the toilet, it's evaporating and it put chlorine into the air. So I then have metal, stainless steel, or glass bottles, and I fill up my own. Sometimes I have to drink a bottle of water. I'm out somewhere, I'm thirsty, I ran out of water, I didn't bring it with me, whatever it is. So this is my rule. If you ever taste a bottle of water and it doesn't taste right, throw it away. Now, the chemicals can be in there and not change the flavor, but if you're drinking a bottle of water, and you've all done this, and it tastes plasticky, if that's a real word, you want to get rid of that right away. Never drink it because there's so much chemical in that water, it's really dangerous. So we're finding that, like I said, this study out of University of Chicago, it can lead to cancer cells in men and ladies too. Opt out for food-grade stainless steel or glass water bottles. That's what we just said. Never heat plastics in a microwave or a dishwasher. If you're going to have plastics and you're going to put them in a dishwasher, the heat can melt it a little bit, change the shape, and then when you put food in there, you're going to have a reaction. If you have anything plastic that's scratched, throw it away. I have mostly glass in my house. I have a few plastic containers. The only time I use plastic containers, if I'm going to put something in there that is never going to be heated. For example, if I buy lettuce or I have my garden, I grow lettuce, and I'll clean it, and I'll put it in a plastic container, not that big a deal. It's not going to scratch it. It's not an acid. It's not going to dissolve it. So it's really not that big a deal for something like lettuce. But if you're going to put anything else in there, it's got to be glass. Pineapple, this is a good example. I bought pineapple the other day. I cut it up, and I didn't eat it all, so I had to put it in a container. And I looked specifically for a glass container because pineapple is an acid. Tomato sauce, acid. I have my sister, unfortunately, passed away of breast cancer, and she would microwave all the time spaghetti sauce, we're Italian, in plastic containers. And I said to her several times, I said, please don't use plastic in the microwave. You know what you're talking about. And again, I'm her brother. What does her brother know? And, famous man once said, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And I tried desperately to teach her, and would it have made a difference? I don't know. I wasn't with her long, time. We were adults, of course. She was married, had kids and everything, and we'd moved away. But it was an issue, and it bothered me. And I always wondered what would have happened had my sister listened to me. I don't know. Maybe she'd still be alive, maybe not. But there was no harm in not putting plastic in the microwave. That's why I want you to avoid that at all costs. Some bottled water chemicals are so potent, they act like hormone-replacing cancer drugs. Recent German study published in the journal PLOS ONE detected 25,000 chemicals in bottled water, finding that some of them inhibited estrogenic activity, female hormones, by 60% and androgenic, male hormones, by 90%. That's some pretty crazy stuff right there. Now, the latter hormone, the 90%, is on par with a prostate cancer drug that they use. So what happens is if you have prostate cancer, they want to shut down your production. Some doctors, not all, want to shut down your production of testosterone because they feel that the testosterone causes the cancer cells to grow more. So they give you a drug and essentially emasculates you. Your hair your chest hair falls out, your muscles fade, you become real weak. And that's one of the treatments that they do for prostate cancer. Well, you need testosterone for other things. And one of the side effects is, one of the things they say never to use, is never use these drugs on people with heart conditions. Why? Because the heart needs testosterone to make the muscles work. And if you give a man who has this suspected prostate issue this hormone to shut down his testosterone and he has a heart condition, he can die. And I have another family member that happened to. So you got to be real careful about that. So the plastic chemicals can act just as bad or worse than drugs. Researchers also detected particularly potent chemicals like malleates and fumarate. These are compounds used to manufacture and form plastic resin used in plastic bottles. Once again, get yourself a water filter. If you don't know what kind of water filter to use, I have some on my website, drjoeesposito.com. You can just Google Dr. Joe, and you can look at the water filters we have there. At least get a good one under your kitchen sink and use that to filter the water you're going to drink, wash your food, cook. I like the whole house one, but they're expensive. They're $2,000, $3,000. I'm worth it. And the cool part is this. When you're healthy, you're going to save so much money on food, on medication, on doctor bills, in most cases, not every case. And you're probably going to live a lot longer. So you have extra money. So there's a financial benefit to taking care of yourself. I'm a chiropractor. I want to naturally get you well and keep you well. We check your nervous system to make sure there's no pinched nerves because the nerves control everything. We check your digestive system. If you have acid reflux, heartburn, burping, gas, bloating, we want to fix that too. And then we get you on a good diet. And one of the things I recommend for my patients, and I recommend most likely for you too, is something called Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. They're two supplements. I talked about them earlier. You mix them together, shake them up and drink them. Those things rock. Most people, once they try them for a month, are like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize I could feel this good. And if you want to get those or more information, you can go to my website, drjoeesposito.com. Also, if you have questions, you can email me through my website, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe, and I'm more than happy to answer your questions. If you'd like to make an appointment to come see us, if you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, numbness, tingling, headaches, most people think of chiropractors as really good pain management doctors, and we usually are. However, it's a lot more than that. Nerves control organs. An organ may not be working because you have a pinched nerve. A lot of people come to us for second opinions. Doc, I've tried everything. Nothing else is working. Doctors send us patients all the time. Dr. Joe, have your staff look at these people. We can't figure out what's going on. So if you'd like to make an appointment, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge. Go to my website, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe, with the number one Dr. Joe in the world. And you can make an appointment. You can do it online or call us. We accept people with all insurances. We accept people without insurance. We accept people with car accidents, sports injuries, workers' comp, lawsuits. We want to be your doctors. Give us the opportunity to prove to you that if you can get the nervous system working, the digestive system working, and get on good nutrition, chances are your health is going to improve dramatically. And so aside from taking good supplements, you want to eat right, because if you're exposing yourself to toxic chemicals like plastics, if your body's healthy, it has a much better chance to detoxify and get the junk out of the system. If your body's sick, well, then you add more junk into it, and it's a lot harder for the body to heal. So get yourself a good filter. Try to stay away from the plastic bottles if you can. If you're going to use plastic bottles, make sure they're not heated. If they're cracked, if they're put them through the dishwasher, not a good idea. Glass plates, glasses, if that's a real thing, glasses. Try to keep yourself more into the glass, stainless steel, ceramic area, even baking. Don't use aluminum foil. Oh, my gosh. I'm kind of going off target here for a second. But don't use aluminum foil, because aluminum foil releases aluminum into the food, especially if it's an acid, like you're heating up, eggplant parmesan with spaghetti sauce. I'm Italian, first place my mind goes. And that acid can leach a little bit of that aluminum into the body, and aluminum is extremely dangerous. Another reason why I don't recommend you use antiperspirants, because they have aluminum chlorhydrate, which can be absorbed into your skin and get into your brain. And as a chiropractor, I want to protect your brain and your nervous system. So stay away from the aluminum chlorhydrate. Stay away from aluminum pots and pans, aluminum foil. If you have to cook, use ceramic, use glass. Put a little coconut oil on the bottom, because coconut oil is pretty stable under high temperatures, and then it'll come out of your pot pretty easily. It won't stick. So these are just a lot of little tips you can do aside from plastic to keep yourself healthy. Now, if you have children, or if you like children, or if you ever were a child, grease-repellent food wrappers could be worse for the kids than the grease itself. Now, I say kids, but it's also going to adversely affect the adults. It might make your life easier if you want to peel off a stick of butter and it comes off clean and smooth. But until you realize that the chemicals that make that possible could be predisposing you and your family to heart problems worse than eating the butter itself. Researchers in Denmark have published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism, finding that chemicals used to keep our foods grease and stain-free could be predisposing children to metabolic disorders later in life. What? Say that again, Dr. Joe? I want to make sure I heard that correctly. Why, sure. Researchers in Denmark, findings used, they find the chemicals used to keep our foods grease and stain-free could be predisposing children to metabolic disorders later in life. These chemicals, called PFCs, they are all over your home. In the kitchen, they're used in food packaging to prevent grease and oil from causing paper to tear. So it makes it stronger. In the living room, we keep our upholstered furniture and carpets stain-free with water repellent. Drapes are wrinkle-free. These chemicals serve the same function on permanent pressed clothing and any outerwear, such as backpacks and other accessories that are advertised as water repellent. If you wind up eating these PFCs, they're used in food packaging. You're mostly likely going to inhale them in all other appliances that we talked about, the carpets, the drapes, it gets in the dust and it goes into your body and you absorb it. Now, I don't have any carpet in my house. I think you should consider that as well. If you want to switch to tile, great. If you want to switch to hardwood, make sure it's pre-finished hardwood. Because if they put the hardwood down and then sand it and stain it, all that stain chemical is going to be released for a long time, up to 6 months. Carpets can outgas chemicals for up to 6 months. So I'm not a big fan of carpet. I'm not a big fan of anything except, pre-finished hardwood and tiles in your house. They look great. They're much easier to clean. I have one of those robot vacuums, and I run it pretty much every day. You clean. The only problem is it doesn't clean itself. I wish there was a way with self-cleaning, but you push a button, they work great, they clean the whole house, you come back, you dump out the dustpan, charge it, and run it the next day. And that's a great way to keep your house clean because you're always going to have things in the dust in the air. Drapes. It's hard to find drapes that you have to iron still. A lot of them are iron-free because they have these chemicals on them. And so if you're doing most everything right and then you vacuum on a regular basis, you're going to be doing real well. Now, regulators have been talking about these PFCs for a long time. Normal weight children who don't have elevated insulin triglycerides, even if they have higher PFCs in their system, the researchers found that there was a problem. If kids were overweight and they had these chemicals in their body, they build up in the blood and they can take years to try to eliminate because fat cells are a place to store toxins. I always used to say, and I still do say, I guess, if you're fat, you're not fat, you're toxic. Now, I used to be fat. I can say the F word on the radio because when I was a little kid, 10, 11, 12 years old, I was just a little butterball. I mean, I was just fat as you can be. And I grew up in a family, Italian, German, and eating was everything, and a lot of breads and pastas and cakes and cookies, and I was overweight. Then, in the 60s, we weren't exposed to as many artificial chemicals and PFCs and steroids, hormones, chemicals, pesticides, herbicides, genetically modified foods that the kids are today. And so we're seeing a metabolic disorder go crazy. We see kids having these problems all the time. It's an epidemic. That's the word I was looking for. It's an epidemic because these kids are being exposed to so many chemicals in their house. They're being exposed to electromagnetic frequencies that we older people were never exposed to. How about Wi-Fi? How about wireless? Everything. I mean, there's wireless fans now. There's wireless air conditioners. Now, that's very mild. It's probably not going to cause a big deal. But electrical wiring. I've had patients, had a patient come in the other day, and she said, I want to thank Dr. Kat, one of my doctors. She said she really saved me because I bought this bracelet to monitor my fitness levels. And she said, I was feeling awful. Dr. Kat made me take it off. Within 2 days, she felt better. The electricity from that bracelet that she was wearing to monitor her health was actually short-circuiting her electrical system and making her sick. These things didn't exist 20, 30, 40 years ago, and now they do. And so you got to be really careful. And with kids, their hormones are more delicate. Their balance is more delicate than us old folks. So really start to consider what you're putting yourself, what you're putting in your body, what you're putting on your body, what you're surrounding your body with. Because this is nothing new. PFCs, we've been talking about these for years and years and years, but it's becoming a big issue. Stain protectors, nonstick pots and pans, water-resistant clothes. Got to be careful with these things, folks, because they have chemicals in them that can really adversely affect your health. So think about where you're exposing yourself to chemicals, where you're exposing yourself to aluminum, phthalates, which are in perfumes, hairsprays, conditioners, carpet cleaners, your carpets. You're bombarding yourself all day, every day. I know you're not going to do everything today, but start making little changes to get these toxic chemicals out of your life. Now, folks, if you have a healthcare problem, if you have any neck pain, back pain, you think you have toxic chemicals in your body, you want to lose weight, we would love to be your doctors. We have offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge. So if you want to come see us, go to my website, drjoeesposito.com, or you just Google Dr. Joe with the number one Dr. Joe in the world, and we'll set you up a time to come see us. You can order Dr. Joe's Super Greens, an essential source online. You can order my books, Eating Right for the Health of It, Prescription for Extreme Health. We have other supplements, too. And the website has hundreds of hours of archive radio shows. So feel free to go to the website, listen to the radio shows. Because you're not going to get everything the first time. I know that. You have to hear something usually 11 times for it to sink in your brain. But if you want to make an appointment, drjoeesposito.com. We accept patients with insurance, non-insurance patients we accept, car accident, sports injuries, Medicare patients. Give us the chance to prove to you that we want to be your doctors. Hey, don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back. Hey, folks, Dr. Joe Esposito here. Hope you're having a wonderful day, and I hope you're learning lots when you listen to the show, because that's my goal. My goal is to give you good information that's going to help you get well and stay well. And today we're talking about plastic and the weird thing plastic is doing to our bodies. And we talked a little bit about plastic is everywhere, and you don't want to use heat on anything that's plastic. So you never want to put hot water, hot coffee in a plastic container, plastic mug, styrofoam cup. You never want to put plastic in a microwave because it'll melt some of the plastic and actually cause some real serious health issues. And we also talked about how plastic can be found in a lot of different things, such as your chemicals like things that clean carpets. That's an issue. Hardwood floors have chemicals in it, maybe not necessarily plastic, but these are chemicals that can adversely affect your body because these chemicals are what's called endocrine disruptors. What I mean by that is we're messing with your hormone system. Your body has a balance of androgens, which are male hormones, and estrogen-like compounds, which are the female hormones, but we all have all of them. Men and women both have male and female hormones. And when you start messing with that fine balance, that's when you start getting some real serious problems. So I want you to think about this. If you're going to clean your carpet, talk to your carpet cleaning company or make sure you use one that doesn't have chemicals in it. Because if you look for something that says PFC-free shampoos. These shampoos often contain PFCs that make it stain resistant. And when you make something stain resistant, it becomes a real serious issue. So look for, if you see the word fluoro in any of the ingredients in your carpet cleaners, you don't want to do it. And that goes for professional carpet cleaners as well as if you can do it yourself. Other places you can get these chemicals: grease-resistant food packaging, microwave popcorn wrappers, food wrappers, pizza boxes. They all contain grease-resistant coatings, and so do pet food bags. And so these chemicals now can get into your pets as well. You don't want that either. Any bag that's paper on the outside and plastic on the inside is going to be an issue. Look for cans that are bisphenol A free or BPA free. This became a big issue a while ago because people were, every time you eat something canned, you're exposing yourself to bisphenol A. Now, bisphenol A is an endocrine disruptor, and it makes the can slippery. So things slide out. If you remember, I don't know how old you are, but if you remember back 30, 40 years ago, things would stick to the can. You'd have to scrape the can out. Now everything just slides right out. Why is that? Probably bisphenol A. It's worse if you're using acid foods in the cans. Things like tomatoes. Canned tomatoes are going to give you a problem because they have these chemicals in them. So you've got to be really careful what you're eating. Look for BPA free. Now, organic foods seem to be more likely to not use bisphenol A. And you should be eating organic foods anyway. But if I buy something in a can, if I buy beans in a can, even if they're organic, even if it says BPA free, I still rinse them off. It's just one more level of protection that I like to use to make sure I'm not exposing myself to these toxic chemicals. Never, ever, under any circumstances, microwave with plastic wrap. You shouldn't use a microwave anyway. But just the other day, I bought something. It was an organic enchiladas, organic, gluten-free, vegan enchiladas. And I said, let me try it. I was crazy. I had a coupon, and it was on sale, and I said, let me try it. And the direction came in a plastic container, plastic bowl, if you will, with a clear wrap on top of it. And it said, just punch little holes in the clear wrap and put it in the oven, and you'll be fine. And I thought, no, I don't think that's a good idea. And it also had microwave instructions, which, of course, I would never use. And I thought, interesting. So I took it out, put it in a glass container, then put it in the oven. And it was fine. So don't heat plastic is what I'm getting at. It's really dangerous. And if any of your plastic ever has scratches in it, throw it away. Never put anything hot in plastic. Clean up your outdoor gear. This is something a lot of folks listen to this show, of course, are into health. Look for products made with nylon treated with polyurethane, or if you can find it, canvas treated with beeswax. Both of those are free of PFCs. But if you're looking at the non-stick waterproof spray-on stuff that's real common, those are the chemicals that are going to cause health issues. And, I don't want you guys getting sick. I care about each and every one of you. I really do. People say to me all the time, why do you work so hard? You do your radio shows. Radio shows are internationally syndicated now. They're coast to coast and around the world. You write books. I still practice. I run my practices. I'm a chemist. I come up with new supplements. And people say, why do you work so hard? And I said, because this message needs to get out there. I had a patient come in the other day, and she had osteoporosis. And we put her on a protocol. We changed her diet. We got her on some good supplements. And she came back 6 months later, and she went to her doctor, got her bone test done. And her bone went from osteoporosis to osteopenia. Osteopenia is the early stages of osteoporosis. And so she said, this is amazing. Why aren't you telling the whole world this? And I said, well, I am. I'm working real hard. I can only work, 24 hours a day. But the message is so important that you get it. And I know you're not going to do everything. I totally understand you're not going to do everything. But do something. Change your diet. Give up the bad foods. Cut out the foods that have a lot of toxic chemicals in them. I always say give up the 7 deadly sins in nutrition: alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener. Eat more fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. I take Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source every day because it gives me nutrients and it gives my body the power to detoxify. Get the junk out of the system. Because even though I eat a good diet, I'm still producing waste products. And I want to get these waste products out. I'm exposed to fluorescent lighting. I'm exposed to electromagnetic frequencies. I'm exposed to my own body. My cells generate energy and produce waste products. So I want to get my body as clean as possible because it's going to last a lot longer. Your body's like a car. And the cleaner it is, the better off it's going to run. So there's dangerous plastic chemicals that are rising up everywhere. And you got to start thinking of it. They're ubiquitous. They're everywhere. So no matter how plastic-free you think you are, you're going to be surprised at a new study that shows you, like most Americans, are harboring high levels of certain plastic chemicals despite our shift away from them. Because we are getting away from it. We are seeing bisphenol A. I talked about this years ago, and now it's mainstream. Oh, bisphenol A is so dangerous. Oh, my gosh. Microwave ovens. I talked about it years ago. Now, never put plastic in a microwave. It's so dangerous. So it's almost comical in my world, because I talk about these things years before they become mainstream. And so anything we're talking about today is going to become mainstream, I promise you, because I have a 30-year track record proving that I was right. I mean, I'm a chiropractor. 30 years ago, if you said the chiropractic word in a lot of circles, oh my gosh, chiropractors, oh, they're quacks, they're voodoos, they're witch doctors. We weren't. We never were. But we got a bad rap. Now, chiropractic is mainstream. Everybody uses chiropractors. A lot of industries call me up. Hey, Dr. Joe, will you come out and give workshops for me? Will you come out and see patients in our office buildings? I get that request every now and then. Because our workers are so busy, they don't have time to come see you at your offices. Will you do that? So what used to be voodoo, mainstream quackery, not mainstream, quackery, is now mainstream. Yoga, meditation, acupuncture. I remember studying meditation back in college, and my mother being worried that I was going to sell everything, move east, and start following some Swami or something. And now they teach meditation everywhere, chiropractic school, medical school, psychiatry school, because we find that it helps the body relax. It can control emotions, control blood pressure. So the fad, if you will, of eating right will become the norm. When I became a vegan 30 years ago, that was a fad. Now, I don't know, I can't think of a restaurant I haven't been to that didn't have some type of vegan or vegetarian option on the menu. Cruise ships. Many times I'll lecture on cruise ships. I'll speak at conferences, and it's on a cruise ship. I love cruises. And there's always an option. So you're never going to miss a meal if you start eating right. And this is what happens all the time. People start to change their diet, and they say, why didn't I do this sooner? This is just amazing. It's the same thing with chiropractic care. People get chiropractic care. Why didn't I do this sooner? Why did I suffer with those headaches and neck pain and back pain and shoulder pain all these years when I didn't have to? And my answer is, I don't know. Research published in Environmental Health Perspective tracked levels of phthalates. These are plastic chemicals. These chemicals added to plastics that keep them soft and flexible, and to fragrance products. So perfume, hairspray, anything that has a scent to it, they usually have phthalates in them. And they wanted to measure how much were in the average Americans. There are 20 varieties of phthalates in use, and some classes are suspected to be interfering with hormones, including causing birth defects in children. The 3 phthalates had been banned in child's toys because of damaging effects. So here they were being used. Oh my gosh, children are having birth defects. We should take them out of the products. And then they did. Well, why take the chance? I always tell my patients, do what I say. Let's assume I'm wrong. If I am, so what? So you got a little conservative, you saved a little money, you lived a little longer. If I'm right, I probably saved your life, or may have saved your life. Now, levels of phthalates are dropping significantly, anywhere from 20 to 50%, but they're still there. And the Environmental Protection Agency considers it a chemical concern. Now, companies aren't required to disclose phthalates in most instances. So avoiding the chemicals requires avoiding products that might contain them. It doesn't have to be listed on the ingredients. And if you're picking up a kid's toy, it can have chemicals in it. There's even adult toys, we'll keep this clean because it's a family show, that they're now making bisphenol-free, BPA-free. Well, that's a good idea. Because if you're putting these chemicals next to mucous membranes that can easily absorb something into them, that can be a big, serious issue. So in an ironic twist, there are certain adult things that you would use, and it can actually be lowering your testosterone levels. And that could be a big issue. Trying to keep it family-friendly here. You might think that staying away from plastics altogether is the only way to do it, but that's not necessarily the case because you're probably not going to be able to do that. But let's talk about some hidden places that you might not be thinking about these plastics. Food. Pesticides contain phthalates as inert ingredients. So if I spray a pesticide on my food, it can get into the soil, it can be absorbed into the food. This is according to a study at the University of Michigan. Now, this can be hard. The University of Washington researchers have found that people sticking to an all-organic, plastic container-free diet for a week saw their phthalate levels soar. For reasons researchers couldn't directly pinpoint, but their general advice, avoid fatty foods. When fatty foods, they accumulate phthalates in the fat. So the food, it's in the plants, and you're eating it, and now the cows are eating it, or the chickens are eating it, it gets in their fat, and then you're eating the fat. So by sticking to the all-organic, plastic-free, I said it soars, actually. It wasn't really, I said that wrong. An all-organic, plastic container-free diet is really where you want to be. Your medicine. Medicines labeled enteric-coated or time-released or film-coated or safety-coated are in reality coated with plastic films that contain phthalates. And those are endocrine disruptors or hormone disruptors. They're messing with your hormones. So what do you do to avoid it? Over-the-counter medications are required to list phthalates as inactive ingredients, making it easier to avoid. If you're doing a prescription medication, you might want to ask your pharmacist for ones that are phthalate-free to see if it exists. Wow, who would have thought that enteric-coated medication could be messing with your hormones? Floors and walls. Floor coverings like fake linoleum are commonly made with vinyl that contains a wide variety of phthalates. And it's funny because these things have been banned for children's toys. You can't use them in children's toys because they affect the children, yet the child can crawl around on the floor all day, every day. And those chemicals are being released. So if you smell a plastic, linoleum, vinyl, if you walk in a house, shower curtains, if you smell it, it's releasing these chemicals. New car smell, really dangerous. I bought a new car a while ago, and every day I left it outside all day, every day with the windows open for as long as I could to get the smell out of the car. So if you get in there and go, ooh, I love that new car smell, it's not a good thing for you at all. Your computer. Cables and cords connecting your monitor and your mouse, all coated with vinyl. Most common phthalate found in cables have been linked to something like asthma. So you might have asthma and not understand why, especially when you're at work, it might get worse. Could be coming from that. What do you do about it? Wash your hands frequently throughout the day and try to keep your hands away from your face while working to not ingest the contaminated dust. Keep your computer clean. Dust often. And if you are dusting, wear a mask. Because if you're going to take the little canned air and blow it around there, that can get into the air, and then you're inhaling it. So now you're starting to think, now wait a minute, Dr. Joe, you're right. Of course I'm right. You're right, because when I'm at work, sometimes I have trouble breathing. Well, there's a lot more computers at work than there are at home. And many companies don't always clean real well. My office, we have tile on the floors. Now, is it as pretty as a fancy carpet? Probably not. But the tile is there because it's easier to clean. And I've said it a couple of times now, I have an electronic robot vacuum. Those little round things you put on the floor and push a button. I love them. You turn it on, it cleans up the dust, and it's not just dust because it's not pretty, but there's toxic chemicals in the dust. My house is pretty clean. But still, there's going to be some toxic waste products. There's plastic in my house, I'm sure somewhere. I have a computer at my house. I'm sure there's something being released from that. And so this is a way to just kind of clean it up. So there's a lot of things you need to do when it comes to health. You have to have a normally functioning nervous system, normally functioning digestive system, and good nutrition. That's what I call Joe Obamacare. I haven't said that in a long time. Joe Obamacare. We have the health care plan, Joe Obamacare. And so can you do everything? Probably not right away anyway. But start thinking about what you can do. At least get some supplements in your diet. Take Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. That's the minimum amount of nutrients that you need. Take those every day. They're on my website, drjoeesposito.com. They're also on Amazon. You have an Amazon account, you can go there. But give your body the nutrients to get it working more efficiently. Clean up your house. Get rid of the plastics. Never heat plastic. Never put anything hot in plastic. And start seeing what you can do to change your life day by day. And you'll be amazed. Everyone who does it. I've never had a patient, 32 years of practice plus all the years I went to school, never had a patient say, Dr. Joe, I'm really sad that I did what you told me to do, if they do everything we say. Now, if you have a healthcare problem, you'd like to make an appointment to come see us. We have offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge. We would love to be your doctor. Go to my website, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe with the number one Dr. Joe in the world, and we'll set you up a time to come see us. We accept people with insurance, all insurances. We accept people without insurance. We accept people with car accidents, sports injuries, workers' comp, Medicare. I can tell you this about car accidents. If you've ever in a car accident and the car was damaged, you were damaged 100% of the time. So go to my website, make an appointment, or give us a call if you want to, and we'll get you set up as soon as possible. We can usually set you up within 24 to 48 hours. drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe. Bring your friends, bring your family, and make sure you bring your kids. Kids need to be healthy too. So more things that have chemicals on it that can be adversely affecting your health. Your purse or your briefcase, anything with fake leather is really plastic made with vinyl. That's another source of these phthalates. So look for cloth or canvas if you can. I carry my lunch. I don't carry it in a plastic bag. I have a canvas bag. And I carry my notes. It's kind of funny. Everybody laughs at me. It's the magical pouch, I call it, because I keep my show notes, all my research that I do, I keep it together in one canvas bag. I'm looking at it right now, as a matter of fact. And I carry it with me, so when I do a show, I have all my notes laid out in front of me. And I have probably about 30 shows already ready to go. I've laid it out, I've highlighted it, I've put it all together. And my staff is always laughing at me, and even people here at the station laugh at me. They say, why are you so well prepared? Most of us are like, flying down the hall trying to get a report done, and you're like, weeks ahead. Because there's so much information when it comes to healthcare. Whenever I find something that I find interesting, I put it in my vinyl, my canvas pouch. Don't have to recycle anything. I use it over and over again. If it gets dirty, I throw it in the dishwasher, in the clothes washer. So start to think about what you can do like that. Like I said, my lunch is in a canvas bag too, because I usually don't go out to lunch. Other ways you're exposing yourself to chemicals. Shampoo. If it's scented, it contains phthalates. Boom, done. Unless it's with essential oils, it's going to contain phthalates. Scented products of any sort are going to be your primary source of the phthalates that are linked to respiratory problems and messing with your hormones. Goes for kids too, folks. So you buy those fun watermelon-scented bubble baths. Not a good idea. You're messing with the kids' hormones. The good news is that the levels of these chemicals are declining. The bad news, we don't know what they're replacing them with. So we can test for certain phthalates, but now we're replacing with other things. Like bisphenol A, for example, it lines cans and makes it less sticky. They replace some of bisphenol A with bisphenol S, which is just as bad for different reasons. So the good news is we're winning the war, but we don't know what the new warriors are coming out. So skip fragranced personal care products altogether, or buy unscented ones or ones that are scented with essential oils only. You don't need to smell, folks. And I did a show a while ago on hormones and chemicals that you release that people are attracted to. And if you're covering it up with perfumes and hairsprays and deodorants, you're not releasing these chemicals that other people can inhale. They don't know they're inhaling them, but they find them attractive. And so you're maybe preventing yourself from having a good relationship, not only romantic, but even business or family, because you're covering it up. And I don't like perfume. I remember years ago I went on a date with this gal, and she was just stunning. I mean, I just thought this was it, man. I'm done. This is the perfect girl. And we chatted a few times on the phone. I picked her up, and I opened her door. I let her in. I got in my car, and she had on so much perfume. And I was so excited to be out with this gal. And after about 20 minutes, I said, listen, I am really sorry. I said, you're going to think not well of me. I said, but I can't handle the perfume. I can't breathe, and I'm sorry. So I had to take her home. Now, the good news was she went out with me again, but I couldn't take the perfume. And I don't like it even with patients. When I adjust my patients and it's on their skin and it's on my hands, I can't wash it off. I can't figure out what's in perfume. Stuff's amazing. It's radioactive, I think, because it just absorbs into my skin. So cosmetics, they usually use plastic polymers and powders to add some color. When those polymers contain these phthalates that are banned from kids' toys, they can interfere with adult hormones. So you want to get yourself natural makeup. A lot of the commercial makeup has phthalates in it, which are actually messing with your hormones, which can essentially speed up the aging process. So ladies, and perhaps gentlemen, you like looking pretty, but it's actually causing more problems than it's doing good. New cars, we talked about that a little bit. You might not be all surprising, but you want to get that beautiful, clean car. The new car smell, not a good idea. 20 phthalates on the market, at least 6, including those banned from children's toys, are used in vinyl and are predominant in plastic plastic that they use in cars. When you get your car washed, do not use an air freshener. Those air fresheners are highly toxic. And I don't care if you like the smell of watermelon or musk or whatever it is, don't do it. If you want to add something nice in your house or on yourself as a perfume or in your car, get yourself some pure essential oils. And different essential oils do different things. Different essential oils, some are aphrodisiacs, some are calming, some are stimulating, some help brain function. So you can kind of go to a good health food store, usually sell them, or online, I know they'll have them. But make sure they're good, pure essential oils and not that they're cut with some type of junk that is going to give you the phthalates. But keep your car clean, too. Vacuum out your car because that dust can build up in there. And that plastic, as it evaporates, you ever notice your windshield, it gets that film on it? You know what that is? That's the sun hitting your dashboard and evaporating. So drive with your windows open when you can. And it's a good idea, too, because you put your arm out the window and you're getting vitamin D, which is really important. So you're exposing yourself to the sunlight, which is giving you vitamin D, which is helping your immune system, as opposed to rolling up the windows, turning on the air conditioner, and trapping all those chemicals in your car. And I don't know about your car, but my car drinks gas when I turn the air conditioner on, so I only use it for special occasions. You know, if I can open the windows, I do. Of course, at night I like to open my sunroof and I do that during the day too, because you get sun on your body, and sun is so important. So to recap, stay away from plastics. Never heat plastics. Never put plastics in a dishwasher, especially if you're going to put some hot liquid in it, because scratching it makes it dissolve more. Stay away from perfumes, hairsprays, chemicals, deodorants that have scents in them, bubble baths, air fresheners, carpet cleaners. Try to clean up your life, because these things are long-term. It's not like you're going to inhale some phthalates or you're going to inhale some plastic and it's going to be immediate. It's long-term. Even dry cleaning. If I have something dry cleaned, I take it home, take it out of the plastic, and I hang it up either outside or in my garage, and I let it air out because the chemicals can be really toxic. Folks, I really want you to get well and stay well, and this is just another piece of the puzzle to help you get well. Now, if you want to come see us, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge. We would love to be your doctors. Go to my website, drjoeesposito.com. Neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, headaches, numbness, the things people classically think of for chiropractic care. We're pretty good at that stuff. But when it comes to digestive issues, acid reflux, heartburn, nutritional issues, children issues, we would love to have the opportunity to show you that there may be alternatives available. Go to my website to make an appointment. You can do it online or call us, drjoeesposito.com, or just Google Dr. Joe with the number one Dr. Joe in the world. You can get Super Greens, Essential Source, my books, all on my website as well. And if you have questions, send them to me through the website. I'm more than happy to help you out. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time.